Hello, YouTube. Since I've been following this whole Candid thing from the start, I figure I'll keep going. Before we go further, I'm going to assume you've already watched both Harmful Opinions and Bearing's latest videos on the topic. If you haven't, I'll give you a minute to go check the links in my description. Okay, welcome back. The issue I want to focus on is the Non-Disparagement Agreement. Bearing rightly points out that in reality it would be quite difficult for Candid to sue him for simple criticism of Candid or its employees. The keyword for Bearing in the agreement is reasonable, and he's right in a legal sense. What I think Bearing is missing is that most of the people who signed these agreements are not legal experts. Harmful Opinion's reaction to this agreement is that he'd be afraid to say anything. And while that was likely hyperbole, he does make a good point. Let's say Candid becomes a huge social media app, perhaps a replacement for Twitter. Then rumors start to swirl about censorship or other shady activity by Candid. These YouTubers, in the normal course of things, might be inclined to talk about this shady activity. They might theorize, they might report the facts, and they might even make wild accusations. But now, these same YouTubers have signed this non-disparagement agreement. Do you think now they are more or less likely to speak about Candid's shady dealings in the same way? I, for one, think they'd be much less likely. And the ones who understand the legal aspects of contracts the least are probably the least likely to say anything bad about Candid. See, the reality of whether a Candid lawsuit would succeed or not doesn't really matter in most cases. What matters is how these YouTubers perceive the contract. Let me put it this way. Most people don't break the law very often, if at all, despite the fact that police officers aren't everywhere all the time. They don't steal even when no one is watching. They don't run red lights even on empty streets. This is in part because the idea that they could get in trouble for those actions is burnt into their brain. With a contract like this, even if the chances of them being actually sued is very low, many YouTubers are likely to not even take the risk and just avoid the topic of Candid completely, and certainly will avoid saying anything negative about it. You also can't ignore the fact that these people signed a, quote, non-disparagement agreement, and just the act of doing that may create the idea in their head that they have agreed to not say anything bad about Candid. Now, for most YouTubers, this won't make any difference to their content, and Candid might never become popular and might never do anything worthy of serious criticism again. But if they do, these YouTubers are tainted, and there will be widespread doubt about whether their opinions on Candid are genuine or if they're just reacting to having signed a non-disparagement agreement. Now, to be clear, I don't have any particular problem with a YouTuber accepting money to market a product. They are free to do what they want with their channel. It's not something I intend to do, but I don't see anything morally wrong about it as long as it's clearly disclosed. I also, however, don't have any problem with the audience of these people judging them harshly or no longer trusting them, seeing as they have quite literally cashed in on the trust and affection of their audience. But when it comes to Candid, I'm not going to trust the opinions of anyone who signed one of these agreements, because there's no way to know how much their opinion is affected. I expect this will be the last video I make on this topic, but in any case, I'm positive improvement, and I wish you all the best.